I would say that's one really common misconception about putting animals down or putting them, doing humane euthanasia. I think that euthanasia is really a gift that we have to give. Some of the most beautiful house calls or appointments that I've had have been helping animals pass. And that's truly, I always say, sometimes we suffer so they don't have to. And
that is a bummer of a gift, though, if under the Christmas tree. You're like, what is it, Dad? I'm putting the dog down.
Oh, wow.
It's a gift.
And it's always on Christmas.
It's wrapped in the box that doesn't have the holes in it because you don't need it. You don't need the holes in it. I did it.
Gifts should never come with air holes, and that's why. But it is also always on Christmas. It always seems to be on Christmas.
Oh, well, of course.
Christmas is a very high time for euthanasia.
Wait,
because
but the dog doesn't know it's Christmas?
No, but because people are traveling and their pets are older or elderly or accidents happen, there are parties.
Wow.
It is known as basically euthanasia season.
My God.
Okay.
But
Christmas will never be the same.
For the bunny rabbit couple.
Well, wait, are you saying that? Are you saying partly that people are going on trips and they're like, we had to do this?
Yeah.
Let's get it out of the way.
Now, it's not a convenience. There are things like convenience euthanasia. So people will come in and say, I don't want this dog anymore. Can you, or this cat's peeing on, something. Can you euthanize it? Now, any veterinarian that I know worth their salt would say, no, that's a convenience euthanasia. And no veterinarian that I know would do that.
Is it illegal?
So we have the right to say, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I can.
That's illegal.
It's illegal.
Oh,
It is legal.
It is legal.
I can euthanize anything.
She can euthanize anything. You heard it here first.
I mean, period, the end.
She can euthanize.
Period, the end. Very legal.
This is fucked up, but I don't think I've ever thought of it. It's illegal for me to kill a dog.
For you, yes, you'd be practicing veterinary medicine. That would be illegal.
But it's your word. You could just go.
It's my word.
I kill it.
That's right.
I kill it.
I mean, now I take an oath. I have an ethical duty to my patients and my
That's
clients.
an emotional oath, though. It's not a legal oath.
It's an ethical oth, but yes.
Wait.
Yeah.
So if it's not the Hippocratic oath.
It's the veterinary version.
What's it called?
The veterinary.
The Hippocratic. Yeah. Very nice. We got jokes.
I know. I forgot.
Does it have a name? That oath?
I don't.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's okay.
This is blowing me away.
Yeah.
We haven't really even gotten into the downside, though.
Oh.
Okay, but let's keep going.
Okay, but here's my one question. So I remember that documentary. Who's the guy that killed the cats that ended up being a serial killer?
Luca Magnotti.
Luca Magnotti.
Wow.
I think, right? Yeah. I mean, don't fuck with cats.
Don't fuck with cats. That's a great documentary.
This guy it was like a snuff film that was like popular with like we had weird high school videos. Russell said back in high school he'd be like, "Hey, you want to see a crime?" And that's like what these videos were in high school. And it was like basically a guy killing cats in horrifying ways that are even lower than the downside goes. And he ended up killing people. But one of the things with serial killers, some of them, is they do kill animals.
Yeah.
Could there be a Dexter-like situation where a serial killer is stopped being a serial killer because you bring him in to euthanize dogs all day, and he gets that out of his system?
Gets his fix. He gets his fix by killing animals.
It's too peaceful. It's generally too peaceful. Yeah, I don't think he would get the thrill.
Sure.
Actually,
would you like the injection? You just wanted to strangle it.
Exactly.
the injector of the vacuum seal bag.
Oh, that's
my
brutal.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so what are the downsides of all this then?
I mean, I think that's a common misconception, and we do see death about 5 times more than any human doctor. So we deal a lot with death and grief. And so that does affect us. And people always come up to us and say, oh, I could never be that. Like, I didn't want to put animals down, and that's sort of somewhat offensive in and of itself, because it's like, well, that's not what I want to do, right?
Sure,
that's not why I got into doing why I do it, right? But it is part of the job. And it's, like I said, I think a gift that we have to give. But
do you think it's a job that, like, first of all, are you doing it, or is your assistant doing it? Like, it's not a job that does it require the best one at the hospital to do it, or is it something like, hey, this is paying your dues when you're in your early 20s, you put down the dogs, and now
you don't have to do that.
The veterinarians legally have to be the one to give the euthanasia solution.
Wow.
My
Can't
techs,
be an assistant.
Yeah, the nurses will set up the catheter or place the needle, but then we are the ones who have to push.
What's the most things you've had to put down in a single day?
This is really the downside.
It's a really good question. And veterinarians will often count this because it is part of our moral injury, which I would say is downside. Moral injury is a big downside, and we'll talk about that. But in most things, I don't know, probably somewhere around 10, 15.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot when we see a lot of patients on emergency, especially. So
what number would have made you go, oh?
Yeah.
Just 3 dogs?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? And a bunny?
That's so funny. She says 5. Somebody's like, you suck.
Not enough.
So it feels like the field of being a veterinarian, it covers way more than it. Obviously, the joke is with human doctors, you have an ENT, and with a veterinarian, you have elephants.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of 3 tigers, whatever.
Bears.
Yeah. But like, it's got to be a real. It feels like how long was the college to get a degree, a veterinarian?
Okay, so it's the same thing as medical school. So it's 4 years of college and then 4 years of veterinary school.
Wow.
And then I did an internship after that. And then if you want to, different than human medicine, they usually do like 3 years of residency and you can specialize. I went right into practice. So I did an internship. Yeah, went right into practice. So at least 8 years.
When you're in that school, is there a point where you're like, I'm going to learn a lot about Snuffleupagus?
Yeah.
I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
And what was yours?
Like, do you pick a major?
Yeah.
I feel like dogs is like, it's full. Everyone wanted to do dogs.
Yeah.
That's everyone does.
You get rats.
Does. Yeah.
You get rat tail injuries. That's your specialty.
Iguanas.
Yeah. That's very, very competitive. So zoo medicine is one.
Wow.
Large animals or like equine, racetrack, or small animals. So I'm small animal, dogs and cats mostly. Exotics.
What's like the sexiest one? Where you're like,
they're all sexy when you're not doing it.
Sure.
The grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Is it like snakes? I use snakes.
I mean, I think there's.
I work with exotic birds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people. Yeah, you can make it as exotic as you want to be. I mean, zoo medicine is so cool, right?
That is really
Everybody loves that. Everybody wants a tour of that.
But does it really like reflect like penguins and elephants? They feel so far away.
Oh, not when they're in the zoo.
Sure.
Wow. Good. Just a walk away.
Not to take you quite literally, but
I know so little about science. Dolphins are mammals, yes?
Yes.
So if you were to study bears, is dolphins going to be easiest next to that as opposed to penguins because it's a different animal class, or are they just a separate? Do you specialize in kingdoms?
We learn comparative anatomy. So we learn that, all living things have a heart, right? All living things have a digestive system. So like what class of animal do they belong to? What kind of digestive system do they have? Does that answer the question?
It does. But so, okay, if I'm a farmer and I got a cow and it's special and I'm a billionaire.
Special.
Am I bringing you, or are you going to go, oh, I'm not?
Yeah.
You want the cow.
That's right. You want the cow doctor. No doubt.
And how many cow doctors are there in the world? Is there a bunch? You have to maybe go to a different state, or is it one guy in Milwaukee and you have to private jet him to the
No, you would find one.
Oh my God. Here you go.
Amazing.
Sorry about that.
Yes, you should personally apologize. When I graduated, I was told that we could fill a football field, that veterinarians could fill a football field. I mean, there's not a lot of us in general, and then there's not a lot of them that specialize. Ooh.
What do you mean? What would that number be?
I don't actually know. There's 29 veterinary schools in the United States as opposed to like 125 medical schools.
Wow.
When I was in school.
That number makes sense to me, though. I got to be honest. Like in terms of like animals versus humans.
Yeah. There's a gabillion animals. There's a shortage of veterinarians, which is part
important.
of. Yeah.
Well, no, but that is.
I'm not an animal person. I gotta be honest. I'm not.
Let's talk about this, right? So you don't have any pets.
No, we don't have any pets.
Can you tell us what you shared, though?
Okay, so
deeper revelation?
I'm not a dog person. In fact, I really don't like dogs.
Oh.
And I was bitten by one when I was.
So you're scared.
Really
There's a difference.
I was bitten by one when I was a kid, but I also wanted one so bad, really bad. And my parents never got me one. And then when I left the house, they got a dog. like immediately. And like
They brought it to his graduation.
So you're
And, like,
resentful.
I was very resentful. And I think I put a wall up. I've been working on it in therapy. I think I put a wall up and I see dogs and I'm like, I don't like you. And I mean, I can appreciate a cute dog.
You're like, where you go at my dad's house?
And so there are a lot of dogs. I mean, you know, one of our mutual friends has this big, scary dog that like is dangerous. It's like a dangerous dog.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look at it and I'm like, that dog should be dead. That dog should not be around living people in New York. It shouldn't be around living people. It's a dangerous animal.
We've shared the story about, so Russell used to have a dog. If you're a real long-time listener, I made a joke about when Russell's dog had to be put down. That did not go over well with Russell. I changed one of the songs that Douglas sang. You remember this?
Yes.
And it was a mistake on my part. But
he had just suffered a loss, dude.
I thought it would be that comedian thing where you'd be like, fuck that. It was not. And we went to New Hampshire. Me, Douglas, Russell, Chris, a bunch of us, Joanne, and for everyone listening, Joanne, previous guest, episode something.
Yeah.
And they were bringing the dog, and Russell was driving me up, and Douglas told me, he's like, dude, this dog, it's scary. It will lunge at you. It's like, it's frightening.
Yeah.
And I called Russell. I was like, am I going to be okay in this car? And Russell's like, Douglas is so full of shit. He doesn't like dogs. It's fine. So he comes to pick me up, and I get in the car, and this fucking beast lunges for my throat. And I was like, Douglas was right. He was 100% right. And listen, he was a beautiful dog. They love the dog. I'm sure the dog was great.
And the dog loved them. The dog loved them very much and protected them.
But if you've ever had to live,
that it could, protected them very well.
If you had to stay overnight, I don't know if you've ever had it, but staying overnight in a place where there is a dog that has to be let out sometimes and sometimes put away, and it's scary, and the dog lunges everything. It's a bad feeling.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
I agree. And people do that to us all the time too. They're like, oh, the pet is fine, but once they get to the vet, they know, and they will bite us. And so there's nothing more appreciated than owners who are responsible and like tell us so that we can.
When a dog is just blustering.
1,000,000%.
What's it just seeing a dog just barking?
No, actually, I mean, sometimes the signs can be really, really subtle. So sometimes like their ears are back, their lip licking, their pupils are dilated, they have low wagging tails. Like we know their body language, but people get like upset if we need to muzzle them or be safe. But there is no place for a dog like that, especially with somebody who's not responsible with them. I can highly agree with you there. But your therapy should be to get a dog.
Yeah. No, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Yeah.
Is it, in some utopian world, do you see like where there would be as many vets as there were doctors, and you could have everyone specializes in one animal, and the science is, it feels like the science could be way further if people could specialize in one animal. It's like a field where there's so much improvement to be made, but it's limited just because there's not enough people.
Yeah, well, we're just behind. Yeah, like human, we aspire to everything that human medicine does, where human medicine so subspecializes. And we can do that. There are veterinarians who do that, but it's far and few between. So, that would be, subspecialty is always so cool because you can be really good at one thing.
When it comes to, for example, it was your organization that you work with, Ukraine? Is it homeless dogs in... Where is it? In Puerto Rico?
Yes. So I'm the medical director of a rescue where we primarily ship in dogs from Puerto Rico as well. That's a volunteer position that I hold.
Is it ever tough, or do you ever get challenged on
why Puerto Rico?
I think there's a degree of, some people will say, I value dogs more than people. And they'll say that, and some are just saying it. And some, like this bunny person here, like they really mean it. But there's some people who they really mean it, and sometimes there's a feeling where I'm like, are you fucking mind?
Yeah, I've had women come to me, like I'll never forget, I was working emergency one night, and somebody came in and her dog was really, really sick, but she said, my 8-year-old son is home with pneumonia, and I only care about this dog.
Wow.
Even if you have the thought, you don't say it out loud.
Right, that's right. It was not a lot of pressure. But that's right. It's crazy. Yeah. The human animal bond is really strong, and there are studies that show that the human animal bond can be stronger and people can be sadder when pets pass away than when people pass away, because I think it's because the bond is really strong. You are literally every day with that pet. At the end of their life, you're most likely their caretaker. I'm just gonna look at Gianmarco because you don't like pets, but so
and they don't know that you're a piece of shit.
Yeah,
right.
They can't smell you've got bad breath.
And human relationships are complex. They're very complex. There's just no complexity to, losing a pet. It's 100% sad.
My dad's a horse guy, and so this is like overbasing it because of who my dad is.
Your dad's a horse guy?
Hold on. Yeah, we have to know about that.
Like, he has a horse.
He owns a horse.
One horse.
At some point, he probably had two.
Well, I didn't know that you were rich. I had no idea. You'd be very rich to have a horse.
That's right.
Well, hold on. Horse people are either like really rich or like really poor.
But your dad's not really poor. I know that.
Come
on.
You want another beer?
Came from the glue factory. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Wow, that was.
I'll take one too.
That was
I'll
very
take one too.
observant. Thank you.
Thank you. But so I've always had this philosophy about horses, and this is just because my dad. We're like, there are some fucked up people who like horses because it's a creature that's bigger than them.
Yes.
So they get that feeling of paternal, and the horse doesn't judge them, and the horse just loves them. And when they die, I mean, my dad has been there for a lot of these horse tests. I mean, it's a beast falling to the floor. It's huge. It's big. It's
horse euthanasias are intense.
Oh,
tell me about a horse euthanasia.
I mean, it takes a lot of solution, but they don't lay down. They typically don't lay down. So when they get euthanized, they can neigh up and then like crash to the ground, and it's really intense.
They do one final neigh.
They really do.
They can, yeah, sometimes, and
They're
then
so negative.
or
Horses
they just
are so negative.
Do you like horses? Would you have a horse?
I would no.
When he graduated, his dad bought 10 horses and built a barn in the backyard.
I would own a horse.
Is that the biggest animal you've had to put down?
Yeah, probably. And I think one of the saddest too, because we took a horse from a paddock, and the other horse, its horsey friend, like was, I've never seen anything like this. Like the bond between the animals was neighing, watching us take his horsey friend away and just neighing up and down the paddock like crazy. It was beyond heartbreaking.
Are you crying?
The things I've seen. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it. I mean, for me, it's hard to even know how much they're bonded to each other, but it's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow.
I just don't. It just seems crazy the amount that you have to do this, and then also be a doctor. Like if your job was just to put down animals, in all seriousness, that's enough of a job. Well, like you come in and you make it easy and painless. Yeah. Let alone then you got to go check them up. And
there are services that just do that. That just are euthanasia or like house call euthanasia.
I was going to say. I was going
to sign up for that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Because I think
you can't fuck it up.
Yeah, that's true. You can't mess it up. But also, I think that like I don't know. I guess if there are real like you're saving them from pain. There are real reasons to put down an animal.
Yeah. I mean, I believe in it for people, which is a whole nother conversation. I think I wouldn't do anything for, I told my parents I'm saving all the solution I got when it's time to go. You're not hanging around, huh? That was my dad's reaction. Yeah. But then we looked at like my 91-year-old grandmother who's riddled with bed sores that they're turning every hour. Like that's not a life. It's time to go.
Oh, yes.
Wait, the suicide that is committed by these veterinarians, do they use their own
Oh, wow.
Okay, so
good
just because you didn't hear on the mic, former guest Joanne listened to her episode. She just asked if veterinarians use the same euthanasia technique on themselves that they do on the animals.
It's a really good question.
And when they die, do they do one final neigh?
They rear up. Oh, that's so funny.
You gotta laugh.
You gotta laugh.
Yeah. Come on. It's the downside.
One of the reasons that that's been theorized that we have such high suicide rates is because we are very type A, accomplished people, and when we do something, and especially because we have a medical background, we don't mess it up, right? So we know what we're doing, and we're going to finish it to completion.
Oh, wow.
So that's one of the theories as to why we have such a high suicide rate. And
I would say, skilled at it. You're so skilled. Good at it.
Wow.
We understand.
Whereas most people mess up.
We understand right. That's right. A lot of people mess up, and or I don't know if mess up is the right word. It's probably not. Cut that out from this live show. No. But so that's one of the theories. They actually don't. So sometimes they will use solution, but they actually mostly don't. They mostly don't.
Okay.
But they can do, and some do.
Wow.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
I'm just overwhelmed. There's so much.
So much.
So what animal do you? Okay. Let me just go back. So you
You want
graduated.
to talk about moral injury?
You get sure. Let's talk about moral injury because I don't think I've never heard that you.
I've never heard of moral
injury is when you are prevented from doing something that you know is right, and that happens a lot in veterinary medicine because of finances, and there's a lot of emotional blackmail. So it's, hey, if you really cared about my pet, you would just treat him for free. I have. I didn't bring my phone. I meant to bring it and show it to you, but I have. And I know because I applied for an apartment the other day, $446,000 in student loans. So it is not a joke. Our debt to income ratio is atrocious.
Oh,
no.
And medicine is expensive.
There's so few of you. I feel like you'd be able to charge a lot. Or some Barbara Streisand needs her dog fixed.
No, I mean,
pay them off my student loans.
I mean, not everybody's Barbara Streisand, but actually it's the richest people who are usually the cheapest, right? Who are usually I mean, you would know from your dad, right? And horses.
Yeah, there it is. You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.